Welcome to the Ultimate Duathlon Challenge at Petronas Sepang International Circuit. Whether you're an elite athlete, a seasoned pro, or an amateur seeking adventure, this event is for you. Experience the thrill of racing on the world-renowned Petronas Sepang International Circuit. It's not just about who's the fastest, but the excitement of racing together and forging new sportsmanship. Celebrate your achievements and the bonds you've created. Every finish is a victory. Join us at Petronas Sepang International Circuit for an unforgettable duathlon experience. Register now and be part of the excitement.
Good afternoon, folks. Welcome back to the Sepang International Circuit for the Malaysia Championship Series. It is definitely wet down here at the Petronas Sepang International Circuit. But not to worry, because I'm definitely going to be quite dry with these lovely ladies behind me. Obviously, they're from Hankook, so we're going to be dry. At least the spectators. But for the drivers, when they're performing out there, it's definitely going to be a slippery track. It's definitely going to be very exciting. It's definitely going to be full of drama. A very good morning for all of you, wherever it is that you're watching us down here. As mentioned, we are at the Petronas Sepang International Circuit for the Malaysia Championship Series, round number 3. Race number 2 for the 2 categories this morning, which is the MTC as well as the SP2 V and G category. A bit of information for all of our beloved viewers, wherever it is that you're watching us. Make sure you do go and check out sepangsircuit.com, because the MotoGP, the Petronas Grand Prix of Malaysia, is on the horizon, happening between the 1st until the 3rd of November 2024. And special for all of you My Card holders, you are entitled to get a 10% discount for any purchase. So do check out sepangsircuit.com for all the information in regards of the MotoGP, as well as informing all of you guys on the 16th of August, which is happening next Friday is the Cycling Open Track Day. Now, you can actually come down here and bring all your bicycles, your unicycles and whatnot, and you can actually have fun down here at the tracks. All you have to do is just to register and check out again at the sepangcircuit.com website. And also not forgetting something new that we have brought to you down here, happening on the 17th of November, which is the Apex Duathlon 2024, a brand new event, a combination of running as well as cycling. Again, sepangcircuit.com is the place to be. Now, coming back to the race of what we're going to be witnessing today, as you can see, the cars are all passing behind me. They are all expected to have a wet race today. As mentioned, the weather has been wet, to say the least, so we are definitely we'll see, obviously, a very exciting race here. A lot of slips, maybe a bit of bumps here and there. We are promised to have a very, very interesting race indeed. And now let's not waste any more time. Let's just pass the mic to our commentators, who are very comfortable up there in their room. We got Nick and of course G.
Mio, how you doing? Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the Malaysia Championship Series 2024 live coverage here on the Petronas International, Sepang International Circuit live stream. My name's Jeevan Silvanathan, Nicholas Anil with me in the commentary box. Nick, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing great, Jeev. Looking forward to a completely contrasting race that we had from yesterday, where it was scorching conditions.
It is race 2, and we had a full day of racing yesterday. But what you're also promised at Sepang is a full weather package as well. So we had blazing sun for parts of the day yesterday. As you can see there, rainy, 28 degrees, so huge drop in track temperature as well. But we had blazing hot sun, then there was a rainstorm, which we thought was quite heavy, but compared to what we're seeing this morning, that was pretty much a light shower. And today, as you can see, absolutely declared a wet race. Now, this is going to make it, as Mio said, very, very interesting in terms of the championship itself. This is round 3, which means it's the start of the second half of the championship. There'll just be one round after this in September, which is going to be the double endurance round. This is going to be a 60-minute race, plus one lap for the leader, of course, and another big, big grid. 55 cars starting on the grid, but this time in totally wet conditions. It's made it very difficult for, of course, a lot of the people, but thanks for coming up to the stands. Good to see some drums as well in attendance here today.
Yeah, indeed. This band is from the Rakan Muda troop, which is an initiative of the Ministry of Youth and Sports, Kementerian Belia dan Sukan. And it's just great to see them coming out here and showcasing their abilities. I saw them earlier when we came into the commentary booth. They were already doing their practice, and it just helps to drum up the atmosphere here at the Petronas Sepang International Circuit.
Now, of course, one of the big winners yesterday was Putra Adam, and he won the MTC class, of course, and is going to be looking for a double win today to pick up full 30 points. 15 points for a win, 12 for second, 10 for third, 8 the standard touring car points schedule. But it is important to pick up points in this round 3 race 2. The likes of Leon Koo, we saw in touring production. He had a bit of a bad run. Of course, we'll be doing the touring production SP1 a little bit later on today. Let's get down to the grid now with Mio, who's talking to one of the drivers.
Alright guys, now I'm down here with car number 65, which is Chitapon. We got Japan in the car. Japan, this is your first time racing in Sepang International Circuit. How was the experience yesterday?
Very challenging. Very challenging. I have to use like a rear view to steer into the corner. Power slide.
Okay. And now today, the fact that it is a wet race right now, so obviously it's gonna give extra challenge for you.
Yeah.
So and how do you feel being together with Piston, having this chance to race in Malaysia for the first time?
Very fun.
Very fun.
Yeah.
So obviously we do wish you the best, because we don't want to take any of your time. So have fun and stay safe out there. Thank you, Japan.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, guys, little words, but obviously it's a wet race. Back to you guys.
That's one of the Thai drivers, a lot of international drivers joining Malaysia Championship Series this year. in one of the biggest years that we've seen. And of course, as we saw yesterday, well, we saw a lot of traffic and congestion in this race when it was dry. You can imagine what it's going to be like when it's wet.
Yeah, indeed. And just based from his comments, I think he was probably having a tough time navigating the corners, having to look at the rear view mirror. And not surprising considering the field that we've had, Rajiv. This is, of course, the largest field of this season, a record number of 55 cars.
Yeah, and that's just for MTC and SP2, as we've said. And, you know, TP, and you can add another 20 cars on that. You're looking at about 70, 76 cars registered. And I said the Malaysia Championship Series has actually been in action since 2011, when it was the Malaysian Super Series. And to see these numbers of cars getting bigger and bigger every year has been fantastic. So now, before we get any further, we're going to get down to the grid again, and it's car number 7 that is going to be interviewed by Mio, and that should be the Castle Racing team in Leona Chin.
All right, guys, now I'm together with car number 7. We got Mark Chiu here. Mark, yesterday you displayed a very, very good race. You came in 7th together with Leona. Today, wet race. Is it going to be the same story, or how is it going to be?
Well, the bad news is I'm a bit nervous, but the good news is I think I'm not the only one who's nervous. So obviously we will try our best and see what we can do, you know, try to take it easy. I've only got one word on my mind, which is smooth. Try to keep it smooth and safe.
So do you expect a bit of, you know, bumper to bumper kind of thing, a bit of skidding here and there? What are your expectations? I mean, apart from wanting to be smooth, of course.
I know personally, I know a few drivers who've never driven in the wet. So I know there'll be a few dodgy incidents. I think there'll be some cars going off the track. But I mean, that's expected with any wet race. And we just hope that there's no collisions. That's all. Yeah.
All right. Okay, we're about to start. So good luck to you and good luck to your partner, Leona, as well. Have a safe race and have a great race, man.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right. Jeef, back to you where everything is dry.
You know, it is very, very dry up here, and I don't envy where you are right now. That's for sure. 2 drivers in the car, so there will be, of course, the usual standard format for the MCS, which will be one crucial pit stop sometime between the 25th minute and the 40th minute of this race. And that pit stop, Nick, as we've seen, is crucial to strategy. Before we get into that strategy, don't forget to get onto the sepangcircuit.com. Check out all the initiatives there, but the biggest one is for the biggest race of the year, and that is the Petronas Grand Prix of Malaysia 2024. 10% discount to any Malaysian citizen that has a MyCard, but of course find out more information and book your tickets early, because there's going to be a lot of people there. Also, as Mio pointed out, happening next week, it's the car open track day. You can get your car onto this FIA Grade 1 circuit and get a decent lap time, or at least see what the track is like, because it's one thing to watch it on the TV, but it's another thing to actually be on it. And the other thing that's happening this year, which is for the first time ever, the 17th of November, the Apex Duathlon, running and cycling on this track. Ever since the pandemic years, actually, there have been some extra initiatives that have happened at Sepang that have nothing to do with cars. And they've been received so well that, as I said, it keeps going. So find out more and log on to apexpetronas.sic.my to get your early bird registration for that. So we're almost ready to get underway here. That looks like about 5 minutes away from the start. And as Mark Chu pointed out, Nick, there's a lot of new drivers here on this beautiful circuit as we have a look at it. 5.543 kilometers, 15 corners, 2 big straights in the middle. I'm not expecting him to go that fast today because of the conditions, but definitely as you get around the corner, turns 1 and 2, turns 7 and 8, turns 9 and 10, turns 13 and 14. Those are the ones you have to watch out for, because those are the overtaking opportunities. Some of these drivers have never driven in the wet. A lot of these drivers have. That might be the big difference in terms of how this turns out. Now, that was one of the cars that did very, very well yesterday. Putra Adam and Avia Bahar from the Honda Malaysia racing team. To be honest, Nick, I think Honda Malaysia are just running away with this season.
Yeah, they've been amazing. And like you mentioned, the pit stop was so crucial. It changed the dynamics of the race.
Absolutely. Came down to 5 seconds yesterday.
It was that 5-second advantage, which they extended to 11-second advantage, and they took it home right after exiting their outlap. And yes, this pit window is so crucial, that 3-minute pit window, because we saw how Lee Wai Kong was marshalling the race until they came into pits.
No, it was really, really close. And I said, High Rev Dream Chaser, which is the team that is the other team to beat, really, in this category of racing. They can feel very hard done by that, because it did come down to having to complete a compulsory 3-minute pit stop, and the way that Honda Malaysia did it, by exiting the pit lane at exactly 3 minutes, that is what essentially created, in the end, a 14-second lead.
Yeah, indeed. And the car that we just saw there, car number 39, and Nabil Azlan and Amir Haris, also did well. I think that when they started, they were not really in podium contention, but even that pit stop worked perfectly well for them, and some daring driving by Amir Harris towards the end has basically now put Wing Hin Motorsports back in contention in this MTC category.
And as for High Rev Dream Chaser, I said, well, they needed those points. And when they came into this this weekend, they were topping the table at 50 points, 39. But of course, that's all changed now. And we'll get you an update of that. You can always get an update on the various point standings of each of the classes, MTC, SP2V, SP2G, TP, and SP1, on the official website, sepangcircuit.com. So about ready to get underway now. Well, it looks like it's going to be safety start behind the safety car because of the conditions. Very heavy rain coming down.
Yep.
And it's not just now. It's actually been raining for a good couple of hours.
Indeed. When I was making my way here, the clouds were already beginning to just envelope the sky, right? And
Well,
I was lucky that it only started to drizzle, but it's now belting really hard.
yeah, it really is.
And we get a great view of the starting grid. So yes, I think it's best that they start off in safety conditions. Of course, the drivers will also want to start in the safest conditions because they know they won't be able to put the maximum effort at the moment.
So looking at the grid, Putra Adam via Baha winners from yesterday, looking for a double win on pole. Nabil Azlan and Ami in second, BY Kong and Hayden Heikel in third. Rahul Rajmaya had a good race yesterday with Fitra Eri in fourth, Mitchell Chia in fifth.
Goli Heng in 7th place, Liu Ko Sen in 8th place, Gladys Lam takes 9th spot, Ronnie Rizman in 10th, Ng Chon Chin in 11th, and Adam Mikal in 12th.
And 13th, Lester Neo, 14th, Loken Jun, 15th, Azrael Azahar. Our engineering are in 16th, Kang Chi Kyong, Hendra Adi in 17th, and Kwek Hanwi in 18th.
And still sticking with the SP2Gs, Chan Chong Shan in 19th, Lau Seng Kiat in 20th, Sun Chi Po in 21st, Divesh Murajun in 22nd, Mark Chius in 23rd, and the Thai team for Piston Project in 24th place.
And so now getting into SP2Vs and as well, Ng Li Jing, William Chong, 25th and 26th, Stuart Hine for Axel Sports in 27th, On Yu Wei from Bay Racing in 28th, Yap Chun Wei, and Shinsuke Umedo from R-Works Rios in 29th and 30th.
And Project SI in 31st place, Daniel Reino in 32nd place, Ng Tek Ming in 33rd, Liu Zi Yu in 34th, Lim Ziong in 35th, Takashi Oi in 36th place.
So 37th is our engineering with Lim Ya Huang, Ahmed Firdaus from 22 Bush on 38th, Li Chiwa, Chong Chi On in 39th and 40th, Danny Chin and Ip Tak Men 41st and 42nd, still going.
And Bernard Chan is in 43rd, Luis Liao, our engineering 44th place, Alan Tia takes from 45th spot, Ko Siu Ting 46th, William Fong 47th, Shafiq Shamsudam in 48th.
So getting close to the end of the grid now. Noah Aleph in 49th, Yip Kan Hong in 50th, Chan Chak Yin and Wong Yi Chung in 51st and 52nd, Mohammed Hafez in 53rd, and Ling Guang Yu in 54th.
And the final car on the grid, Teo Hong Zhao from Shoduko Shenzhou Racing.
55 cars once again, and as Mark Chu pointed out, I hate to be the bearer of doom and bad news, but there are going to be some bump and grind and shunts for
Indeed.
sure. Absolutely, and I hope they all get through turns 1 and 2 especially. There will be a split start, of course, between MTC and SP2.
Mark's comments is an absolutely accurate indication of how this race will unfold over the course of the next 47 minutes. Because they would be probably driving at the speed of Now it's 80 kilometers, but even if safety car peels off, I don't imagine that they can go much faster than that, because the track as of this point is absolutely
soaked. It is
soaked.
100% soaked, drenched. It looks like another boat race up here at Sepang.
And there could be puddles as if the situation, or rather the weather conditions continue to persist.
Well, that's the thing. You know, I was just saying about the car open track day as well. It's so different when you see the track from up here and when you're actually on the track. I've driven on this track before, and there are little pits and holes that fill up, and you know, this looks like a complete coverage of water across the track. But certain areas will be a lot deeper because of the incline of the track will lead to rivers, especially at turn 9 and turn 10 when it goes down and up. That has to be watched, which is why we're essentially starting under a full course yellow condition, and that was determined by race control, who are going to have a lot of work to do today, I can tell you.
Even in turn 14, as they make their way to the turn 15 back streets, we can already see the puddle beginning to clog up. And it's not just having to deal with a wet track, it's also visibility, right?
Yeah, it's not just and it's visibility of the cars is one thing, visibility of where you are in terms of track position, but it's to find the racing line when it's now just reflected. You're essentially doing it by feel, you're doing it by, you know, the practice that you've put in, and hoping that the car itself is going to hold, because these are not F1 cars. They do not have super grip on huge, massive tires. These are essentially modified road cars that you and I drive every single day, and you know that when it starts to rain and you're in a touring car, you have to slow down a little. So we're not going to see the 2:33.174. That was the fastest lap that was put down by Putra Adam yesterday. Definitely not going to see that. I'm expecting 2:45s at least. But the race clock has started. You can see at the top of your screen, though, in all honesty, behind a safety car, there isn't much racing that's actually happening right now. Everyone's going to have to take it very easy. So once the safety car and race control have determined that there is indeed a viable racing line that these 55 cars can try and find, and this is the big corner, turn 9. You can just see the water already, just kind of rivers of it flowing across, and that's really going to mess up the tires. Completely different situation for the drivers. Yesterday you're looking at about 50-60 degrees inside the car. Now a lot cooler.
So that you don't have any issues of the engine overheating, but
which we did have yesterday.
Yes, we did have yesterday. This is a completely different challenge altogether.
If anything, you get waterlogged engines, but really it's all about traction and trying to keep that car at the front, the safety car, well, that's got incredible traction. This is the fast part of the course that they're at now, which is basically turn 13 and turn 14. That's where a lot of cars went off yesterday.
That was the hot spot of the action that we witnessed yesterday.
4 cars, in fact, went off on the first lap there.
Both in the MTC and also the TP.
So coming out the back straight now. This is going to be a learning experience for all these drivers. I myself said I've been doing MTC coverage for about 8 years now. There's only 3 or 4 races I've seen that have been this wet.
I remember there's one race that we did last year, and as soon as the race started, it started to rain heavy. And of course, the red flag came out, and that was the wettest race in my short experience doing the MCS.
Yeah, that was one of the wettest. I've seen one where I couldn't see the cars. I could only see the headlights. I promise you, it was an evening race and it was raining, and all I could see was the headlights. So we are underway, it's lap 2, and keeping their positions, as you can imagine.
These conditions is out of anyone's control. Of course, the drivers would want to race in the most pristine conditions where they get to showcase their abilities to the fullest, but...
Yeah, and you know, this is the first race of the day as well. There are actually plenty of championships. In fact, there was the classic Asia Classic Car Challenge happened beforehand, but still to come, TSS, the Toyota Gazoo Vios Challenge, that's also going to be happening later on today. I don't think it's going to stay this wet, But you see what I mean about how the headlights are now pretty much all you can see. Very difficult conditions, and even those wipers working at full power are not going to be able to clean off all that moisture. So we wish the best for these drivers. And for the likes of Mitchell Chia, for example, who would have expected or hoped to have finished a little bit higher than 5th, well, it's going to be hard for him to pick up even more points in these conditions.
Yeah, precisely. Michel Chia, of course, with a new team. He was with High Ref, a Dream Chaser last year. Now with Wing Hit Motorsport. Currently, still trying to get into the top 3 standings. Michel Chia and also Nakib Azlan in 7th spot. But having said that, there is the endurance race that's coming up next month. So that race offers double the points of...
Yep, that'll be the finale, the championship finale. 300-kilometer endurance. So there is a chance, as long as they can keep within striking distance. You know, Nick, it's raining so hard that I swear I felt a raindrop inside this commentary box just now.
Let's hope that's not the case.
That can't be the case. This Sepang paddock is too well built for that.
But you are right, the rain is actually coming down harder because we can see the track slowly beginning to develop puddles here and there.
Floods.
Of course, completely moist.
It's almost flood-like in terms of certain areas. Look at that corner there. The runoff that's coming off the tires. Big grid.
And it's
ominous.
It's a huge experience for a lot of these drivers, like Mark Chiu pointed out earlier. A lot of them are racing for the first time, in evidence with this huge representation that we've had, 55 cars. And to race under these conditions, I think they'd be probably grateful that, you know...
look at that.
They're not able to push the limits under these conditions and just have a gauge of how it feels to race in the wet in this Sepang circuit.
Yeah, I mean, what are the real factors that are affected? Of course, if you're looking to cut in on the inside line, I mean, you can add about another 5 foot onto your drift when you've got less traction. So it's going to be much, much more difficult for the likes of Nabil, Putra, Mitchell, who are the big names when it comes to overtaking, to actually even find an opportunity to get past. So the safety car is still out, and we're about to start lap 3.
Don't presume the safety car will peel off anytime soon until the rain slows down, perhaps.
Well, 55 cars going around this track at generally the same area. As you can see, there is already a clearer line that is being dried out, and you know, you can do this as even if you're driving in a rainstorm, you can drive in the tracks. That's not going to be a clear racing line, but I think that's probably what they're going to wait for. Certain areas, as you can see here, that's just vanished.
Of course, the pit window will be open in the next 10 minutes or so. But I figure it wouldn't make much of a difference.
Right now, it's not going to make any difference at all. Essentially, right now, these cars are doing circuits of this, or laps of this circuit, and there isn't much else they can do. But there will, of course, be that driver change in the pit window, and how they play this. There are so many different strategies, and I wish I knew, or I could tell you all of them, including the full course yellow. But if you could time coming off the full course yellow into your pit stop, then you can get yourself a bit of advantage. Have we already had a slip? No, I don't think so.
It's just showcasing the amount of moisture on the track.
It's that back wheel. See, the front wheel just kicks off all the water into the back wheel.
Have you done a race where from start to end safety car was deployed throughout?
No, not that I can remember. It was close. Once, you know, it came down to about 10 laps of a 15-lap race was under full course yellow conditions. But I said there's nothing. It could happen. It could easily have that simply because that's what it's all about. It's a safety car. It's meant to keep things extremely safe for everybody else. And look at that, even under safety car conditions, people are beginning to slip off the track. Very gently pushing himself back. Bit of mud on that tyre, I'm sure. And that was Ronnie Risman, in fact, for Kristen Project. Did absolutely nothing wrong, just... Well, that's one of the high rev cars also pushed out. There he is. Just too many cars on that line and slipped out. And that's at 80 kilometers an hour or less because it's full course yellow. So imagine if they were trying to go faster, but I can't see them trying to go any faster right now than this.
We are, of course, heading towards the annual monsoon season that traditionally starts in the month of October. We're just judging by the weather and how it's unfolded over the course of the weeks. We have seen rain, light thunderstorms, but it usually takes place in the evening.
Yeah, about 4 o'clock. It's very early. It's just past, well, it's just coming up to 11 o'clock in the morning now. And very odd. But then that's climate change for you, I guess. You know, things are changing, even in terms of the monsoon. But this is actually one of the advantages of this track. And a lot of the race drivers, whether it's F1 or whether it's Porsche Carrera Cup, whoever's come here, they've said that the fact that the weather changes so much is what tests them so much. Because there are some tracks in the world that are just dry as a stone and never see any kind of real action. So still behind the safety car, Putra Adam, Nabil Aslan and Lee Wai Kong.
Putra Adam has just got into his 4th lap, and perhaps maybe it's time for us to just talk permutations, because if this situation remains, then Putra Adam and Avila Baha will pick up the second win
by basically just following the safety car, which isn't too bad an outing. Don't have to really push yourself too far.
And it'll be great for the likes of Nabil Aslan and Amir Harris in Wing Hint Motorsports as well. Not so much for Lee Wai Kong and Hayden Haikal, who'll be looking to make amends and trying to get back into top spot, because they have already picked up 3 wins so far this season.
Yeah, they were definitely the big losers yesterday, and along with Mitchell and Nakib in terms of picking up big points. So they were expecting or hoping for a much more rewarding second race. So far, that second race is not going to give them any more points. That's Gladys Lamb, 76. Biding her time very well. Well, is this weather going to ease up even a little?
I do not want to jinx it, but yes, I would say the conditions have improved
slightly. Slightly, yeah.
Yeah, at least 15% from the last 10 minutes.
So that's Ronnie Risman that is having big troubles. Kristen Project.
The rain has definitely let up, Chief. Even the track looks a little bit drier as compared to before.
Well, coming up to about 20 minutes of the race already done. There is Ronnie Risman, only car in the pit, and only car so far that's had a fair few problems.
Yep, Ronnie Risman had problems yesterday as well. He came into pit before the pit window was open.
So Kristen Project not having the greatest weekend so far. And all working out well, I should say, for Putra Adam.
Putra Adam is probably the happiest man so far. Picked up 2 wins out of 2 races yesterday.
And raced in a 3rd race as well.
Raced in a 3rd race, on course to pick up his 3rd win.
So a red flag called, which was kind of expected, I guess, at 32 minutes, because so the cars are going to line up now, but conditions just too heavy for them to race right now. Now there is a very, very busy schedule up at Sepang today.
From where we are seated, it actually is not as heavy as before, but I'm guessing red flag is taking into account the overall track conditions, because on the other side of the track, conditions are probably not that great, and it's probably raining heavy.
Well, I think it's the accumulation of the water is now going to be too much, and so 55 cars on this track is always going to be very, very tough to manage, but to have that much water on there as well. So as you can see them all filing into the pits, and as I said, there is a very tight schedule of racing up at Sepang today, so I don't know as to how this is going to continue.
Well, they're all being summoned to the media center for a briefing, and that's just where we are at. So we'll keep an ear out for you.
Absolutely. And keep you updated on exactly how this race, well, I mean, I was going to say continued, but starts is really the word we should be using. So if you've just joined us for the Malaysia Championship Series 2024, round 3, race 2, well, not much to report except heavy, heavy rain here up at Sepang. And that's led to the race cars starting under full course yellow conditions, and now being called into the pits.
As you can see, the race marshals are all lined up, just guiding the cars.
So these cars will stay in that formation in the pit lane. I don't even know if they're going to fit in the pit lane because there's so many of them.
It'll be a snake all the way to the back.
That's not uncommon in Malaysia. So right now, everyone will be waiting for race control's determination. There is that snake right into the exit, into the entry of the pit lane. Well, some situations at racetracks you just can't control, and when weather is this heavy, and unfortunately all the racing that we've been waiting for has to come to a stop. All the drivers are going to get out of the car now, and they're going to head to the media center for a briefing. So we'll be back as soon as we know exactly what's going on with this race. Right now, we're going to take a break.
Hi, I'm Pedro Acosta from Red Bull Gasgas Tectra MotoGP. Come down to Sepang this November and experience the speed, the thriller and the excitement for the biggest race in Malaysia. Get your ticket now. I'm ready for Malaysia GP. Are you?
Welcome to the Ultimate Duathlon Challenge at Petronas Sepang International Circuit. Whether you're an elite athlete, a seasoned pro, or an amateur seeking adventure, this event is for you. Experience the thrill of racing on the world-renowned Petronas Sepang International Circuit. It's not just about who's the fastest, but the excitement of racing together and forging new sportsmanship. Celebrate your achievements and the bonds you've created. Every finish is a victory. Join us at Petronas Sepang International Circuit for an unforgettable duathlon experience. Register now and be part of the excitement.
The world champion. He's bang on course the pole here in Malaysia. Oh, he's gone down. Attacking too hard. Just going in too hot into turn 4. You almost thought that was coming.
Welcome to the Sepang International Circuit for the Petronas Grand Prix of Malaysia. You want to be here at the Sepang International Circuit for the Malaysian GP. Why? Because of the mega lucky draw. That's right, there's going to be 3 R25 motorcycles to be given away to any one of you. 3 in fact, for all of those main grandstand ticket holders. This is actually a collaboration between SIC and Racing Board just for MotoGP.
Harapan saya pada minggu ini adalah untuk berada di kedudukan hadapan dan saya ingin cuba fight sehabis baik untuk berada di kedudukan poin. Kalau podium itu bonus buat saya, so jangan lupa datang support saya.
and we're racing in the sprint here in Malaysia, and Bagnaia has made the superb start from that sun pole position. He's going for it on the inside. It's going to be really, really close. He's going to run in hot, and Bagnaia will just cut to the tight inside line. Here comes Martin through as well. Alex Marquez storms to a sprint sensation here in Sepang. He wins it by nearly 1.6 seconds.
So hari ni kehadiran saya memang untuk Peko Bagnaia. Peko punya motor terlalu banyak aerodinamik, so bila dia keluar corner untuk pick up a bit slow, keluar corner je memang George Martin. Sekarang ni memang George Martin yang paling laju lah.
Moto 3, it's a really good start from pole position by Yamamata.
Here comes Sasaki, who's going to pick up a two-bike slipstream. Is he late enough on the brakes to get through?
Next weekend, that's a huge high side. That's Alonso who's gone down. Diogo Moreira's been caught up. It's a fourth crash of the weekend. Vaya it is then that still leads. Colin Vaya wins a Malaysian Grand Prix. Sepang lights out and underway here at the Sepang International Circuit. Kind of big risk to go without the game with a championship mistake. Oh, and Arbolino, but it's congratulations, Moto 2 world champion. It's Pedro Acosta. It's lights out and we're underway here in the Malaysia MotoGP race. Bagnaia looked like initially missed the start, trying to gel with the factory. The Ducati really put him on the back foot as Martin goes for it on the inside of Bagnaia. On the cutback they go. They are shoulder to shoulder, elbow to elbow. The beast is back with a bang in Sepang. Enea Bastianini is a race winner for the first time on the factory Ducati.
Thank you very much from the bottom of my heart to all the board members, SSE staff, all the volunteers, all the medias, all the agencies that have helped us in making this event a successful one this year. A special thank you to the Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Youth and Sports, Tourism Malaysia for the support that you have given to us this year. And for those who have not purchased the tickets for next year, you can go to our website www.sepangcircuit.com to purchase the buy one free one ticket for the Petronas Grand Prix of Malaysia 2024. And see you next year. Kasih gegar.
So back with the Malaysia Championship Series 2024, round 3, race 2. And if you have just joined us, well, we have had too much weather to deal with for the race cars, and the drivers currently in the media center getting a briefing as to how to progress. It's not just this race, of course, that is going to be affected by the weather. It's the entire program of racing up at Sepang for Sunday. As you can see there, the amount of rain that's still coming down. It did break for a little bit, Nick, but then it came back hard again.
Yeah, this is the heaviest we've seen today. And all the cars are still lined up. All the drivers are still in the media center. They're still being briefed. Time is, of course, running out.
Yeah, if it was the only race happening today, then you could understand. But I said I'm not going to start preempting as to exactly what's going to happen, but there is a very intense briefing and red flag conditions turned up. I think it was probably about 3 or 4 laps in. So there was really only about another 30 minutes left for this race to run.
We spoke about visibility earlier. Look at it. Even if the drivers go out, even with the headlamps on,
it's not going to be easy at all. Permutations, how it could go? Well, I mean, they could come out and get in the car for another 2 or 3 laps to finish the race, but I'm expecting that to be under safety car conditions as well, because you can't just suddenly start racing in weather like this.
Yep, and safety car conditions means no overtaking, and they probably got to go even slower than 80 kilometers an hour, because there's no way that they would be able to drive even an 80 at this point.
Yep, that's true. And a lot of other championships happening, of course. Porsche Carrera Cup, the Thailand Super Series, that's actually up next. The only race that managed to complete this morning was the Asia Classic Car Challenge, and that was just before this torrential downpour. And we're getting some great shots of that right now. And there are all the cars lined up in the pit lane. I think it was just too dangerous, Nick, having 55 cars out on that track with all that water.
Yeah, indeed, and we know that the Malaysian Championship Series always prioritizes safety conditions.
Yep.
Even if there's a little bit of debris on track, safety car is immediately deployed. What more conditions like this, where visibility is poor at this stage.
And certain areas of the track are bound to be waterlogged.
And taking into account the sheer volume of participation as well.
So this was a replay of what was happening, and as I said, when we got off to the start, it was all under full course yellow conditions behind the safety car. And they did give it a go. They tried their best. But as you can see, you do actually need a boat, I think, if you're going to get through some of these corners. This was probably one of the only incidents. High rev, a little bit off. Ronnie Risman also off at turn 9, and that Piston Project car in the end would end up in the pits, and that was the only action that we saw before the red flag. So we do wish we could give you and bring you a lot more racing. Of course, this was a key race as well for MTC and SP2, being the second race of round 3.
Can tell you that all the drivers are still in the media center. They have not moved. Briefing is still ongoing, which means the status of this race is still being determined.
Yeah, and as I said, I didn't want to preempt anything, but there are plans, if they can, to get racing again, but it's just with this tight schedule of racing for all the other championships, well, we're going to have to just wait and see what the final determination is from race control.
Well, this race was supposed to end at 11:40. That's about 19 minutes from now. Like you mentioned, Jeff, the permutations are in the likelihood that it continues. By the time the drivers go down, they get into their cars.
Yeah.
Perhaps there's just only 2
Time
or 3
for,
laps.
Yeah, 1 or 2 laps, but I reckon that'll be behind the safety car as well. So as we see it, and look at that, that's now getting very, very thick indeed. Well,
Right, there's been some developments on the drivers who are now beginning to exit the media center.
oh. Well, still waiting for full news, but as Nick pointed out, and it's happening right behind us, the drivers are making their way back out to the car, so I'm trying to read their faces to see exactly what the outcome was. But you know, these drivers smile all the time, so
They are happy, and nonetheless, they're just grateful to be out here and being able to be given the chance to participate.
They're happy to be in their fireproofs, and they're happy to be in a place where they might be able to race.
Well, like you mentioned, if this wasn't a full hectic weekend, we might still see this race, see it all the way through.
Yeah.
But due to the back-to-back schedules, it's a little difficult.
Well, I mean, that's of course assuming that all the other championships are going to run, because they're going to face the same problem right now, because Thailand Super Series is up next, and you know, this track is right now not ready at all for the kind of power. The cars that run in the TSS are huge. I mean, they've got massive engines, and so that's what I mean. It's a very open-ended situation as to where this is all going to go. And as you can see, as you look at the pit lane itself, there is one of those big powered Porsches. And it's just sitting there waiting.
A lot of movements in the pits, but it remains to be seen whether the drivers actually get back.
We have a
to the
great
cars.
view actually from the commentary box of the cars themselves, and though we have seen the drivers leave the media center, we haven't seen them enter the cars just yet.
No, it looks like they're going back into their respective garages.
If they are, then that means that this race has been called, and that wouldn't be a surprise. Well, how's it going to turn out? As you pointed out, it is the season for rain, and this rain doesn't look to be letting up. It's looked like it was going to slow down a couple of times, but now has just got heavier and heavier. So, well, it's been a good 2 or 3 minutes now since the drivers left the media center, and I see no helmets being put on.
And usually what we do is we encourage people to come here and watch the action live. That's not the case
Some
this
of them,
time.
some of them did.
That Rakan Muda boys, they deserve a lot of credit for coming down here.
A lot of credit for that. Well, I see some movement on the pit lane, but it's not drivers. These are officials so far. But they're moving towards the cars. And that's pretty much all the action that's happening right now. And it's also different if you started I mean, this is what happened yesterday. You had a dry section and then you had a wet section. That can be managed if you can do that. But if it's like this where it's right from the start, and there's the signature grandstand you saw at Sepang, can't even see that through the rain. But it is different when you've got this amount of accumulated water. If you look at the track right now, you can just see that there's just sheet water, and that's not going to be good, even with these high-profile radials that they are currently equipped with.
It has been raining for the last 1.5 hours or so.
At least, yeah. So not the greatest day of racing action here for round 3, race 2. But as I said at the beginning of the broadcast, yeah, we've just got word that the rain is in fact getting a lot worse. But I did say a full weather package at Sepang, and well, compared to yesterday when it was an absolute oven here.
Yeah, we are not surprised because we have been in this situation before. I remember when I did the S1K at the end of last year. I think we were an hour in and conditions were exactly like this, and all the drivers came into the media center. They were briefed and
but were restarted. But you restarted,
yeah. It was restarted, but it took about 2 hours before we restarted. We don't have 2 hours
no,
today.
Absolutely, yeah. But you know what? S1K being an 8-hour race, that is literally asking for it when it comes to weather.
And especially in November, where it's traditionally right smack in the middle of the monsoon season.
Yes, we're actually in the transitional monsoon period right now. And that's why you can get these sudden storms. But I think this one's actually shocked everyone as to how heavy it is. Well, if you've just joined us, as I said, the Malaysia Championship Series 2024 Round 3 Race 2 has come to a stop. Let's just say that the racing spirit has been dampened. I've been waiting to say that for the last 5 minutes. So I had to come up. I had to say it. I absolutely had to say it. It has been more than damp, but it's been flooded, in fact. So, yes, not much racing happening in round 3, race 2. And I said there are plenty of options you could go for from here. But I have a funny feeling that it's going to be called with those grid positions, which means Putra Adam would, in fact, technically take away a double win and the double points.
Yeah, indeed. If the situation remains, then it would be Putra Adam Avila Baha in top spot, followed by Nabil Azlan, Amir Haris, second spot, Levi Kong, Hayden Haikal in third spot in the MTC category. Well,
even the Rakan Muda boys, as you can see, are facing a bit of trouble, even in the grandstand. Well, all ready with the drums.
We can tell you that the rain has just gotten heavier, and it's now being accompanied by gushing winds as well. Because the beach flags in front of us are beginning to dance even more so.
Can it get worse? That's really the question. But look, they're waving the flags, those Rakan Muda boys. That's well done. Great to see them over there. That's what's called racing spirit. Well, Mark Chu's prediction on the grid didn't come true.
Didn't come true because we did not get to racing.
That's right. He was expecting some collisions. He was expecting a lot of bump and grind, and in the end, we never got to see any of that stuff. And we are, as you are, still waiting for official word, but the drivers have left the drivers' briefing, and they are not back in the cars. There you can see a couple of extra people that are in the stands, and also watching on their phone, and thankfully staying very dry. Well, even the camera's being hit now by the rain.
It's kind of a pity because we've had the highest turnout so far this year, 183 cars in total throughout all races. And I was made to understand there would be up to 4,000 people right here in this circuit.
I think I said it's, you know, for us it's one thing to not be able to watch the racing, but for the teams themselves, well, this is an absolute tragedy because of the amount of time, effort, money that they've put into getting these cars set up for these weekends, and looking for a good run at least, but haven't even managed to get a run out of it.
Yep, and a lot of the international competitors have probably arrived here early on.
Yep. It was a very, very busy weekend up at Sepang, and the clock was stopped at 25 minutes into the race. That was when the red flag was called.
Oh, it's just gotten heavier, Chief.
Yep, and it's continuing to. So I do worry for the end of this race, and of course the other championships happening today. But do stay tuned to find out exactly what happens. Tough situations that the motorsports community has to deal with, especially in Asia.
And outdoor sports in general, it's not just motorsport. If
Yeah,
let's say
that's
you're on a
true.
golf course and
No, that's true, yeah.
even the slightest hint of lightning and everybody gets called back.
Well, we still haven't got a complete update as to what's happening, but we are going to take a break now, and hopefully when we come back from that break, we will be able to let you know a bit more as to what's happening. We'll be back soon.
Hi, I'm Pedro Acosta from Red Bull Gasgas Tech Tour MotoGP. Come down to Sepang this November and experience the speed, the thriller, and the excitement for the biggest race in Malaysia. Get your ticket now. I'm ready for Malaysia GP. Are you?
Welcome to the Ultimate Duathlon Challenge at Petronas Sepang International Circuit. Whether you're an elite athlete, a seasoned pro, or an amateur seeking adventure, this event is for you. Experience the thrill of racing on the world-renowned Petronas Sepang International Circuit. It's not just about who's the fastest, but the excitement of racing together and forging new sportsmanship. Celebrate your achievements and the bonds you've created. Every finish is a victory. Join us at Petronas Sepang International Circuit for an unforgettable duathlon experience. Register now and be part of the excitement.
Welcome back to the Malaysia Championship Series 2024 Round 3 Race 2. These are the current standings. I shouldn't be laughing about it, but it's true. Unfortunately, rain has not just delayed the Malaysia Championship Series Round 3 Race 2 MTC SP2, it's red flagged it, and it seems to be getting worse as well. So Nick and I have been in the commentary box, but we haven't had anything to commentate on except raindrops. That's it. The drivers were called in for a driver's briefing. That driver's briefing has happened. Race control is currently negotiating or determining, I guess, as to how this is going to go, but the rain hasn't let up. The moisture is still on there. It's not just moisture anymore. It's full-on water in certain parts of the track, especially turn 9 and turn 10. So there's not much of an update that we can give you right now, sadly. But we are all waiting for something to happen.
Well, I can tell you that some of the cars are actually being pushed back into the respective paddocks.
Yes, that's true. We have a good view of that from up here at the commentary box, and that's 3 or 4 cars now that are being moved in.
So that's even more so of an indication that this race might not continue. Of course, we don't have official verdict yet.
Well, there isn't much time to play with. There's a lot of other championships happening up here on Sunday. Race 2s for the likes of Porsche Carrera Cup and TSS to come. But these cars are being pushed, and you can just see that on your screen now, that the cars are being pushed back into the paddocks without drivers. They've been in that pit lane for the last at least 20 minutes, with just 25 minutes of the race completed, and even that was under full course yellow conditions. Well, it is even too much for the birds by the looks of it. They've decided to give up flying because it's just there's too much. There's too, literally that's why they're on the floor. If they start flying again, then you know that the weather is actually easing up. But birds aren't stupid. They just don't. What's the point of trying to fly in rain like this? Well, we are trying to make the best of a very dire situation here. As you can see, even for us, it's easy in the commentary box. But for the officials here at the Sepang International Circuit, it's a very serious situation indeed. And of course, all those cameramen and, well, there's, as you said, Nick, there's about 4,000 people up here at the circuit that are waiting for racing. And most of them right now are just trying to make sure that, that this water is not going to affect anything else, especially with cameras, for example. The last thing you want to do is have a rainstorm like this.
I consider us blessed because we are actually sitting in the comfort of the commentary book. Across us, there's a bunch of marshals who are struggling to take cover because they don't want to get completely drenched.
Well, I've been scouring the pit lane looking for Mio because I don't want Mio.
I expected Mio to come and speak to us.
Well, while you have the time, and you do have the time now, get onto sepangcircuit.com and do check out the initiatives and the offers that are available there. Of course, the biggest one for the Petronas Grand Prix of Malaysia 2024, 10% discount for My Card holders. That's going to be happening on the 1st to 3rd of November. It is the biggest race of the year up at Sepang. 182,000 people were up here last year. And of course, we're going to hope that this weather doesn't continue over then. But do check out the website for that, and also the Car Open Track Day that's happening next week, as I understand it, August 16th. You can get your car up on this track and really create a memory for yourself, because it is an FIA Grade 1 circuit, and you don't usually get the opportunity to test out your car on one of those. But it is an eye-opening experience, that's for certain, as you'll learn exactly what it is to drive on this track. And something new for the 17th of November, the Apex Duathlon 2024. Cycling and running. Get your early bird registration right now. For more info, log on to apexpetronas.sic.my.
Speaking of the MotoGP, that championship has been blown wide open, and I hope by the time it comes to Malaysia, it will be an intense 2 or 3 horse battle.
The last few years it's come down to that, right? Well, we just got some news in that the race might be continued and might be a shorter end to it, but that's the most positive news that we've had so far. And no word as to exactly when that's going to be starting.
No movement as well from the drivers back to their vehicles.
Well, based on the amount of racing that can be done in a day, there's probably about an hour, hour and a half delay that you could maximum put into each of these races. We've had about half of that now. There you go, some drivers still happily smiling away.
Well, as long as there's daylight, they can still race. And traditionally, we do get daylight up till 7:15 p.m. So that's the maximum.
That is the maximum you could go to, and that was in fact what happened yesterday. We finished at about 7 o'clock with the Vios Challenge. Races were scheduled to finish around 6 o'clock today, so you could get this underway, possibly add 2, maybe 3, maybe even 5 laps. The safety car is now coming out at the back, as you can see. Possibly we could get a restart for 5 laps. But very difficult and complicated situation for drivers, technical officials, team mechanics. Because there's a lot of protocol that has to be followed, and that's the main part of it. Well, we can actually see the grandstand now, so that's good.
Yep, it's
Yeah,
actually
a little bit
cleared up a
tiny.
little bit. From where we are seated, at least we are not sure what the conditions on the other side of the track, but
Yeah,
from here it's looking a little bit more promising.
well, less umbrellas out in the pits as well. No, they're just under cover. Yes, frustrating time. That's right. Everybody's focus is on the sky right now. As much as we can, a thumbs up. So the safety car door is open. Here's something that's actually happened. It's closed.
There is movement.
That is just huge. People don't get into safety cars unless they're going to drive them. So
Yep.
this is, you know, very, very positive again. Well, what do you do when you are stuck waiting? The Rakan Muda group are now waving their flags again.
Actually pretty animated. We really got to give them credit for. And I presume that they'll be here the entire day for all the races, right
Yep.
up till the Vios Challenge.
I hope they brought a change of clothing. Safety car moving. First moving car on the track or in the pit lane.
To inspect the track.
Probably, I would expect, yes, coming out now. So this is the first car on the track that we have seen in up over 40 minutes. That's how heavy this rainstorm has been.
So what's going to happen is now safety car is going to inspect the track, Roger back to a race control, and then that will set the motion if the drivers come back up.
Yeah, that's exactly what's happening right now. Turns 1 and 2 looking very flooded indeed. That's the big problem right there. Turns 1 and 2. That's Adele Liu. Happily smiling away, ready to get back in the car. It's a full complement of drivers up at Sepang this weekend. International drivers, not just for the other championships, but also for the Malaysia Championship Series, but veterans. And Adele Liu, of course, the daughter of Eddie Liu.
Eddie Liu, who missed a gear, I remember, in the TP.
That's right.
In
Yeah,
the final lap, heading into the checkered flag.
Well, turn 5 is looking okay. Ooh, that looks like a lot of water just after turn 5. These are the key parts of the track because these are the overtaking areas as well. So getting into turn 6 now. There's 6 and 7. There's a lot of water there. To 8. Well, I'm looking at the wheels of this Mercedes safety car, and there is a lot of, that's a relatively dry area.
Yeah, it's a dry patch.
But then this is a very fast part of the corner. That's 11 and 12. And that's also looking like, hello, how are you doing? Could be a future racing champion there. And this is the big one, turn 9 and 10. You can just see, Nick, all that water just on the corner between 9
Indeed,
and 10.
on the inside line especially.
That's the dangerous part. Straight through there.
And this is where a lot of the action took place.
Yep, 13 and 14, or in fact, that's 11 and 12, I think. So once again, if you've just joined us and we're expecting to see the closing part of the Malaysia Championship Series, well, we haven't even seen the opening part of it. And it's going to be a very limited and shortened race, I'm sure. And even that is dependent on whether this track inspection by the safety car is deemed okay.
And safety car will determine if it needs to go another lap to assess the track conditions.
The drainage here at Sepang was actually redone. I think it was about 3 years ago now, certain corners. So it does drain well, but that does include, of course,
2016, I think, to be precise, the last time the drainage system was there. But The track was in fact recently resurfaced as well, so
Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
that was not too long ago.
So coming around turn 15 now, the safety car. So that's one complete lap that has been...
I have to say that the weather conditions have improved dramatically in the last couple of minutes. I do not want to jinx anything, but that has been the situation so far.
There they are, and they're looking far drier. Yeah, that's right, on the big screen. Give it a bit, give it a wave.
And it looks like the safety car is going to go on another lap on its back. Because this will also set the precedent for the upcoming races as well, not only
That's
the
right.
MCS.
Yeah, that's right. TSS was scheduled to start in about 5 minutes on the original program. Safety car off on another lap. Well, we're still waiting for more info, but there's definitely been a 15-minute delay. That's been officially stated. Well, certainly a lot more activity happening in the pit lane. We're just about waiting for that green light, if they can get it. And as you can see, sitting in fireproofs. I still think, I mean, I now think it's a manageable amount of water, but it's just that 55 car grid that is the big problem.
It will take some time before they all get back into their cars and be let out again by the safety car. And like you alluded to earlier, Jeef, it's a case of how many laps would they be able to complete.
Yeah, that's the thing. There were only about 3 or 4 laps completed under the safety car. They're not certainly going to do extra 16.
It does seem like a day of torrential rain, because in usual circumstance over the past couple of weeks it rains and then it stops, but this has not been the case.
There have been a couple of days, I mean only a couple of days in the last decade where that's actually happened.
Yeah.
And it's rained all day. But for it to happen right now at this point, well, that's a bit unlucky for the MCS field. That looks like it's getting heavier. High Rev Dream Chaser team. We're going to pick up some points if they ever get in the car. That's Rahul Rajmaya. Well, they're a great performing team. They've done really well in the season. And whatever happens here in round 3, race 2, whether they do get out on the track, there is, of course, round 4 in September, that double points, double header endurance race. That is the usual traditional finale for the season.
I can tell you that the rain has just picked up again. Maybe I should not. I should
It's
stop
not-
talking
it's not
about
you.
the rain.
It's not you,
Yeah,
Nick.
yeah.
It's just.
I don't want it to be me, you know.
It's not.
I just can't help but inform the viewers of the
No, that's
real
true.
life
That's true.
happenings that's been going on. So it stopped. It almost came to a stop like 5 minutes ago, and it's picked up, and it's picking up.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, one thing Nick and I can promise you is that we're never going to give you fake news. And we're never going to tell you now that it's a dry day.
We're not that kind of people.
We're not those kind of people. It's all about the truth. And the truth is the safety car's coming again, because it does look like it has got a lot heavier. So, still no real clear update as to where we are going with the Malaysia Championship Series 2024 Round 3 Race 2. There's not much they can do
Well, they'll feed this information back to race control, and then race control probably decide on the status whether we are fit for racing or otherwise.
So those were the stewards inside the car. Now, we were trying to read their general reactions.
Yeah, at this point we can just tell you based on body language until we get the official confirmation.
I'll tell you one thing, Nick, the drivers haven't been seen since the briefing. They were, and there's one of them, there's Mitchell Sharp. As you can see, they are sitting and waiting. Mitchell's been caught without his helmet on. Look, you're not ready, Mitchell. What's going on? You should be ready to get in that car immediately.
Looking absolutely relaxed.
A different day for them. It's a different morning for them, I guess. I'm sure they would love to be out there getting points.
But like you mentioned earlier, so many seasoned competitors who've been racing on this track for so many years, they've all been accustomed to this. Perhaps not during this particular period of the year, but
Yeah.
they know what it's like
They
to
know-
sit
they-
and wait for the rain to stop.
They do, but even I have to say that this is a special day in terms of the amount of rain that's coming down. It's always been a bit manageable. Adi Rahimi there. And a very interesting story for Adi Rahimi because he is essentially the person, the one I'm talking about right now, who has graduated from EMCS, from simulator racing all the way through to actual racing. And he didn't just turn up and add himself to the end of the grid. Has been a big winner in MCS.
And that's picking up too, simulation racing. A lot of transition from simulation to actual racing.
Yeah, that's what they're trying to do. Mitchell Cha, if he does get in the car for Wing Hin, he's also going to be in the car for Toyota Gazoo.
Yeah, Toyota is one of the main drivers of simulation racing, and they've got a lot of talents that have made the transition into actual racing.
Well, you may as well, instead of having these guys sitting at home and kind of, you know, there are race room simulators that have been up at Sepang for a good few years now, and they identified the talent. And yeah, there's a good few people that have come through. But Adi Rahimi definitely is one of the names to remember.
Without disclosing our age, we were not in that era where you know, we had this simulation. We went to the arcades.
Yeah.
But it ended at that.
I played
right?
video games. I still play video games now, but I don't get into racing cars.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're better off here in the commentary booth where it's cozy and nice.
It's a big jump from holding a controller to suddenly being in a car. And, you know, it does take a lot of courage to do it. We're looking right now at the TSS pit. The Thailand Super Series, as I said earlier, a lot of big cars, GT4s, GT3 competition. Very powerful and beautiful cars in this competition. They are also waiting to get on track. Good to see you too, guys. Not the only championship waiting to get on track.
I have to say the cameraman has been doing an excellent job to give us an overview of what's going on.
Let's just clarify that. The 16 cameraman.
16 cameraman.
Doing an absolutely fantastic job. And they really do. As I said, if you do work in broadcasting, you realize the positions that they set up, the shots that we're getting, they're going to be currently covered up in plastic and still getting these shots for us. So our hats off to them. Still no drivers logging into cars, and those cars still in the pit lane. There's Leona Chin. How you doing, Leona? Don't worry, Leona. Every single driver is going to get a shot now. This is the driver roster. You don't usually get to see this, but this is a behind-the-scenes look at what drivers do.
Leona, of course, had some recent racing done in Hong Kong, I believe.
China, yeah, a lot of China stuff. Where do you follow that?
This is, of course, this race picked up after a 2-month break. And a lot of drivers, of course, they did a lot of testing and all. Leona went and did some actual racing overseas.
Yeah, I remember Shanghai. They do try and get as much race exposure as they can, which is something they are not getting today.
Adi Rahimi was from a simulation background. Leona Chin came from a drifting
background. She's a drift champion, yeah. Just in the background, you can see that heavy rain still coming down. That's right. Represent your team as best you can. Now, the real trick is, I mean, if race control suddenly turns up and says, right, there is going to be another 5 laps to this race, you have to move out of this happy, kind of, you know, relaxed situation in the pits and get back into race mode.
And that itself is a challenge from going from warm-up mode to competitive mode. It is a transition that needs to happen.
Well, we are getting messages up here from race control that are basically just saying there's more delays coming in. That's interesting.
Don't worry, guys, they're not fighting.
Don't worry, yes, this is a simulation. We were talking about simulation racing. Well, there you go, that's it. Looks good on camera. You don't usually get to see this side of drivers.
This is perfect behind the scenes. If they were to do like a documentary.
It's BTS. It's BTS. That's exactly what it is.
All these footages could be used.
You know, you always see them being very serious. You always see just the eyes and the helmets and stuff, and they're talking about what's going to happen in the race. Well, if they do get a time to relax, then this is what they do. But getting to the serious part of the message, I suppose the day, this can't happen forever. It's as simple as that. And someone is going to have to come up with a decision soon because the rain doesn't seem to be letting up.
I guess the stewards that were in the Mercedes safety car are probably in discussion now to make a decision if this race would continue or not, and we should know in due course.
Absolutely. But the race itself, the original race, was scheduled to end 20 minutes ago, which means we are now behind schedule in terms of the day of racing.
Indeed, and as we saw earlier, the Thailand
Super Series, pits are ready to go as well. So it's not just about making a decision, it's making a timely decision as well. And once again, I'm just happy that I didn't leave any of my windows open in my car.
Yeah, that's a good call.
That's a very, very good call. That's T&D Racing. Trying to keep their spirits up. Well, you know, Nick, we've been talking about what's going to happen with the other championships, but do remember there's going to be another MCS race that was supposed to be scheduled at 1:50.
Yeah, the
we're
TP
rapidly
and
closing.
SP1.
It's now 12 o'clock, so we're rapidly closing in on that as well.
I'm just thinking of the backlog of races that we have yet to even go through.
Yeah. Porsche Carrera Cup, Thailand Super Series, that's a 1 hour race. We've got our half-hour race, of course.
Of course, it's a time for family outing as well. A lot of these races have brought their families to watch them in action. Still an experience, a great experience.
As I said, there could be 2 budding motor racing champions right there. The rain getting heavier once again.
Yep. It is pouring here in Sepang.
Well, we do wish we could give you a better update. But right now, round 3, race 2 of this 4-round series is dead in the water. Strangely enough, the timing computers had actually put Ronnie Risman on his outlap. I think the water may have got into the water may have got into the transponders because he's currently logged as 4 laps and on his outlap.
Poor
which is
Ronnie
very strange.
Risman cannot catch a break this weekend.
He's had a rough start for sure. Maybe that was actually the reason, because he was in the pits. But every other car is in the pits. And as you can see, drivers are nowhere close to it. That looks a bit clearer. That's not this pit, that's the back pit, in fact. That's the other side of the circuit.
I think that's the Thailand Super Series.
That is the TSS pit there. And just look at those cars, unbelievable. Beautiful stuff. Of course, they look better when they're moving. Funnily enough, they actually look great when they're standing still as well. Good to see a lot of the female racers up here, ready for action. They don't quite know what to do with the cameras on there. Yes, that's the best thing to do. Look at your phone. Everybody else still waiting, and you can just see those timing screens in the back of your screen that are currently just showing all the cars in the pits.
This also is an indication that they know as much as us of what's going on, because if they do know more, they'd probably be either preparing to get back into the cars.
That's Roy Tang there. Lot was
or tuck
expected.
in for the day and start planning for next month's race.
Well, that's it. It is the second race, so now I'm tempted to say that it's cleared up.
Me too.
But the last time we said that, it got heavier.
But in fact, it has. It has cleared up.
Well, let's just see what happens. Team photo certainly looks that way.
Why not?
They've got the time.
Yep.
They've got the time for a lot of things, actually. Well, we heard that the rain has stopped. Is this fake news?
Doesn't seem like it, because we are not that kind of people, and
no, it's race control never comes up with anything that isn't true.
And in fact, it looked like it has stopped.
Okay, well, now that it has stopped, that's the first part of the solution that has been completed. The next part is, what is this race going to look like now that the rain has stopped?
Safety car would definitely be deployed again
For sure. And will it be another 5 laps, another 3 laps? Will it be the whole race? That's what we're waiting to find out. And as soon as we get any info, we will let you know. But it's definitely getting to that crunch time now, as there are races that need to be completed.
No indication of the safety car being deployed as of now.
No, not yet. There's Adi Rahimi again.
And I don't want to jinx it and speak too soon, but I also want to say that the sky is clearing up just a little by little.
Yeah, there's a lot of wood touching going on here.
Wood touching. But it's the truth. It's the truth. Conditions are looking much better compared to 15 minutes ago.
I just can't stop laughing. That's because the last 45 minutes. Well, that's turn 5, and turn 5 looks completely clear now. No rain at all. That's pretty good. So those good drainage systems that we were talking about will now be kicking in, And hopefully, they'll be able to get out and start racing again. The latest update is a 12:15 start, possibly. And that was the latest update that just came out about 6 minutes ago. But in all honesty, that's been a rolling delay for about an hour now. Well, we do wish we could give you better updates as to what's happening, but as you can see from the track, nothing's happening.
Oh, I can tell you that.
Oh, the safety car is moving.
Indeed.
So this should hopefully be a better track inspection. So stewards in the car again. And we've just heard that we might just be continuing. So there is an improvement. There's 2 cars on the track now, both safety cars. This is a little bit better. One and two looking a little bit drier, tiny bit. Coming up to 3 and 4, and helmets on.
This is a good indication.
Positive signs. Up to turn 5. Ooh, there's a big puddle there, and there, and there. So still a bit of water up between 5 and 6.
But as compared to
before, yeah.
Yeah, the first time safety car was out, well, it's still raining.
Birds are flying.
Birds are flying, that's another
Told you.
indication.
So far, so good. That looks like, well, these cars haven't got transponders on them. And looks like 7 and 8. And then we'll go into the flat downhill section to 9 and 10. This is where most of the water is going to be because of this dip, because you're coming down and then you're going up. So right about here, there's the line, there's the water line there. And they've come through pretty well.
Yeah, looks good.
Well, it looks better. Let's say it looks
better,
good.
better.
That's literally the definition of it when it comes down to it. This is not a good track at all. Still, they're just trying to make the best of a very, very tough situation. So this would be 11 and 12. Fast part of the course. Now, for the touring cars, as I said, you're looking at about, even on the best day, 120, 130. But for some of these TSS cars, they can clock serious speeds around this part of the track. They are going to have, of course, better aero and much better tires as well. General grip around corners, but still, there's a bit of speed from the safety car. Testing out the straights.
Presume they might go on just another lap to ensure.
Well, I think better be safe than sorry. This is something I've never seen before, Nick. Two safety cars, essentially
yeah, that's
racing each other. Well, safety cars are very prized. Well, we don't want to shock you in any way, but we just looked at the weather forecast and they said there's even heavier rain that is scheduled an hour from now. Now, as I said, I didn't want to say it, but I did. But we're going to have to wait and see. For now, I can even hear birds singing again. turns 1 and 2 being checked out thoroughly. Well, I think this is the best that this track is going to get.
Yep, this is actually the best conditions we've had all day.
Rain beginning to fall again here, the commentary box. Well, there isn't really much else you can do. I said we're at the mercy of the weather.
It was just less than 10 minutes ago where we got a confirmation that the rain has stopped. Status has changed.
That's the thing with rain. You know, if only it was that it would just happen once a day.
And now
there it is.
All those drivers who were ready with their helmets on.
Yeah, I really don't know where we're going to go from here. This is now a totally unique situation. Rain has restarted for sure up at turn 9 and 10. Only 2 cars that have been out on track in the last hour.
The rain has actually gotten heavier.
Well, for a while, there was some promise.
In truth, there is still 25 minutes of actual racing left to be done. Stop right, smack on the halfway mark.
Yeah. So up to turn 15, and that's looking waterlogged again. Well, your guess is as good as ours in terms of where this is going to go. But the conditions up here at the Sepang International Circuit, while the track is perfect, the conditions around it have made it very, very difficult. So the safety cars both back into the pits now. And based on that rain, I don't think that report is going to be too good.
I'm just looking at the weather forecast and do not want to be the bearer of bad news, but it states that this condition will persist.
So there's the steward of the course. There's no smiles there.
The fact that all of them are leaving to go up also says a lot.
Yeah.
Because if we were to continue, then there would be some indications and movement.
Well, you can see some of the marshals have got their helmets on. Some of the drivers are ready to go. But the race now very far away from starting. Well, they tried their best, these teams, to put in a good race weekend, had a decent race yesterday when it was bright sun.
Yeah, there's no denying when it's under pristine conditions, they give us a great show.
They really did, and they really put, as I said, and from what we saw from the pit stop strategies and generally the way they approached the race, it was wonderful to watch, but there's just nothing that can be done when there's this amount of rain that's falling on this circuit. Still no movement on the grid. And certainly looks like we might be going back as opposed to forward in terms of progression. But don't forget to get on the official website, sepangcircuit.com, to check out all of those offers and initiatives. You've got plenty of time to do it. The Petronas Grand Prix of Malaysia, the car. Right, so we've just heard that there is actually another briefing happening in the media center. This time not just for the drivers, it's for the team managers and stewards. So this one's sounding a little bit more serious. And we'll give you an update on that just as soon as we can. For now, what I'm going to say is just stay tuned. And as soon as we have an update on what's happening with this race, and of course the continuing races for the rest of the day, we will let you know. So we're going to take a break now. We'll be back soon.
Hi, I'm Pedro Acosta from Red Bull Gasgas Tech-Tron MotoGP. Come down to Sepang this November and experience the speed, the thriller, and the excitement for the biggest race in Malaysia. Get your ticket now. I'm ready for Malaysia GP. Are you?
Welcome to the Ultimate Duathlon Challenge at Petronas Sepang International Circuit. Whether you're an elite athlete, a seasoned pro, or an amateur seeking adventure, this event is for you. Experience the thrill of racing on the world-renowned Petronas Sepang International Circuit. It's not just about who's the fastest, but the excitement of racing together and forging new sportsmanship. Celebrate your achievements and the bonds you've created. Every finish is a victory. Join us at Petronas Sepang International Circuit for an unforgettable duathlon experience. Register now and be part of the excitement.
The world champion. He's bang nine on course, a pole here in Malaysia. Oh, he's gone down. Attacking too hard. Just going in too hot into turn four. Yeah, you almost thought that was coming.
Welcome to the Sepang International Circuit for the Petronas Grand Prix of Malaysia. You want to be here at the Sepang International Circuit for the Malaysian GP. Why? Because of the mega lucky draw. That's right, there's going to be 3 R25 motorcycles to be given away to any one of you. 3 in fact, for all of those main grandstand ticket holders. This is actually a collaboration between SIC and Racing Board just for MotoGP.
Harapan saya pada minggu ini adalah untuk berada di kedudukan hadapan dan saya ingin cuba fight sehabis baik untuk berada di kedudukan poin. Kalau podium itu bonus buat saya, so jangan lupa datang support saya.
We're lights out, we're racing in the sprint here in Malaysia, and Bagnaia has made the superb start from that sun pole position. He's going for it on the inside, it's going to be really, really close. He's going to run in hot, and Bagnaia will just cut to the tight inside line. Here comes Martin through as well. Alex Marquez storms to a sprint sensation here in Sepang. He wins it by nearly 1.6 seconds.
So hari ini kehadiran saya memang untuk Peko Bagnaia. Peko punya motor terlalu banyak aerodinamik, so bila dia keluar corner untuk pick up a bit slow, keluar corner je memang George Martin. Sekarang ni memang George Martin yang paling laju lah.
Moto3, it's a really good start from pole position by Yamamoto.
Here comes Sasaki, who's going to pick up a 2-bike slipstream. Is he late enough on the brakes to get through?
Next weekend! That's a huge high side. That's Alonso who's gone down. Diogo Moreira's been caught up. It's a 4th crash of the weekend. Via it is then that still leads. Colin Via wins a Malaysian Grand Prix. Sepang lights out and underway here at the Sepang International Circuit. Kind of big risk to go with Aldersgate with a championship stake. Oh, and Arbolino, but it's congratulations, Moto2 world champion. It's Pedro Acosta. It's lights out and we're underway here in the Malaysia MotoGP race. Bagnaia looked like he initially missed the start, trying to gel with the factory. The Ducati really put him on the back foot as Martin goes for it on the inside of Bagnaia. On the cutback they go. They are shoulder to shoulder, elbow to elbow. The beast is back with a bang in Sepang. Enea Bastianini is a race winner for the first time on the factory Ducati.
Thank you very much from the bottom of my heart to all the board members, SSE staff, all the volunteers, all the medias, all the agencies that have helped us in making this event a successful one this year. A special thank you to the Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Youth and Sports, Tourism Malaysia for the support that you have given to us this year. And for those who have not purchased the tickets for next year, you can go to our website www.sepangcircuit.com to purchase the buy one free one ticket for the Petronas Grand Prix of Malaysia 2024. And see you next year. Kasih gegar.
So welcome back to the official live stream of the Petronas Sepang International Circuit. As you can see, the rain is still pummeling down here, and it has been so for the last 2 or 3 hours. And so far, as I understand it, the conditions are just too heavy for MTC and SP2 cars to especially navigate the south side of the circuit, which is the waterlogged part of it. And I was just in the media briefing with the drivers and the managers where they got the news, and it just, those 2 laps that we saw from the safety cars, 2 track inspections, one with just a safety car, one with both safety cars. They had a look, the chief steward had to make a difficult decision, and that was to cancel it. So more updates might be coming, but as of now, that's what we know. So it's a shame, Nick.
Indeed, it's a massive shame. All that effort and preparations put, but again, you know, you can't really fight Mother Nature. You just got to accept it.
Exactly.
This is how it has been for the last almost 2 hours. And the permutations are that there's a possibility that these drivers could get half the points.
Okay, well, there is a clause in the regulations. I think it's as outlined by the chief steward, clause 21, which is force majeure, which is exactly what this is. Because the race was started even under safety car conditions, it means the race did start. Now, 60% of the race was not completed, which means that it falls under the rule of half points off the starting grid. And I think that's the most likely outcome. Of course, I'm just a commentator. I'm not part of race control, and I'm certainly not an official at Sepang. So as I know it and the information that I've got, that's what we've heard. But just stay with us and wait for the official confirmation as it comes out. There is, of course, going to be the second part of round 3, race 2, which is the TP and SP1 race that was scheduled for 150. That might have changed now because of the rain. Things might keep changing because of the rain, because, of course, it is, I'm going to say it, a fluid situation. So for now, that's it for MTC and SP2. We wish we could have brought you more racing, but Nick, thanks for joining me anyway to watch the rain, I guess.
Yes.
For this first
it's
part.
been great talking about the rain and talking about Sepang and talking about everybody that has made this, tried to make this happen.
Getting some of the BTS as well. But we'll be back later on this afternoon with the touring production in SP1, so do stay tuned and join us then. For now, it's goodbye.
Very good afternoon, folks. Welcome back to the Sepang International Circuit for the Malaysia Championship Series